We've been doing movie nights for
years.
Gen Xer and
a Gen Z. Random weird moments that the two of us have experienced, and there are a lot of those.
And he crashes them.
As you do.
It's like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, where did this come from? Why are we singing?
I mean, you're not going to learn anything about the movies listening to us talk. This is the Argo City Podcast. Film, conventions, and fan life with Maddie and Matthew.
And we're back.
And we really mean back. We just got home a little while ago from the Akron library where we were
at Geekfest, which is my favorite convention.
So this one's been going on for a long time. And actually, you've been going to this for a long time. Not every year.
Yeah, this is like one of the oldest ones that I've seen the pictures that you've sent me, and we've been going to this one forever. Like I said, this is my favorite convention out of the rosters that we go to.
Like, we have pictures that from 10 or 11 years ago at this show.
Literally. Even the people that run the costume contest here, it's... Oh, crap, what was their name?
It's Rubber City
Cosplay. They recently celebrated, I think you said it was 15 years?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years for them, too.
And 10 years ago, this was where we were at. We literally have a picture of Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn from me, my sister, and back when she used to go to them. And that's honestly really cool to see that we've been going there that long.
It really is. And that, like I said, their first show was here. This was not your first convention, but it was pretty early on. And like I said, you haven't been there every year, but a lot. So I think I've been to 8 or 9 of these, and we've been going consistently the last 4 years. And you went here and there 1 or 2 times before that. Mm-hmm. So this one's one we have a lot of history with. This is an event that happens at the Akron Summit County Library. And it really is kind of Comic-Con through the eyes of a library.
It's the convention is mostly focused on panels, which is honestly something that I really enjoy, since I tend to get really bored at conventions. You've got a medium-sized dealer room down on the floor below.
Oh, you got a small. That is a tiny dealer's room, I think.
Well, yeah, probably tiny, but it feels big when you're in there because everyone's cramped into that tiny space. But a couple of different dealers. You've got a couple different panels going on in multiple different rooms. They even use the auditorium where they'll put on the bigger performances, like the Shakespearean thing or the costume contest, which is one of the main things that happens later on in the day. And this is just such a well-rounded convention. I've always really enjoyed this one.
And it's grown, too. It has continued to grow and evolve over the years. Like when we started going way, way back 10 years ago, there was a few panels. There was no dealers.
Really?
No dealer's room at all. There was nothing to buy. There just wasn't. Now, they started appearing on that upper level where you walk in.
Yeah.
So you'd have a couple tables by the doors, and that just grew to the point where they'd block out an area downstairs by the computers and by the makerspace.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's nice because you want to be able to do a little bit of shopping at one of these things while you're watching whatever. They used to do more drama there. There'd be a play or a comedian or something like that. One of the talks would usually be in the auditorium. They don't do that so much anymore because they've saved that for performances. So it's grown. More programming, more shopping, more games, more things.
Yeah, it's grown to multiple floors, which forces you to explore this giant library.
Yeah, and really...
Which, we're not kidding when we say giant. This thing is 4 stories long, and
there's something everywhere.
You've got the main floor where you've got all of your panels. Going down a floor brings you over to the dealer's room. Going down another floor brings you over to Well,
Some of the
another
registration.
like registration, another partial dealer's room because they have like them in that like little corner area. Going down further from that is
actually, at that point you have to go back up. You've got to go to the second or third floor because that's where the teen stuff is.
Yeah.
There's another panel room hidden in the back there.
I know, it's like I always miss it every time I'm looking for it.
It took me forever to find that a couple of years ago because I was looking for a panel there. They have video games going on in the teen area, and then over on the other side of that floor, there's board games going on.
Yeah.
There might be D&D. There might be just weird, interesting board games available to play or to do. And then, of course, you also have the entirety of the library, all of the resources there that are available to you too.
It's like their wall of manga is freaking huge. The manga wall at our local library is maybe 2 bookshelves, if that, and more than half of that is either graphic novels or comic books.
Yeah.
And, like, I get that. And last year, I had actually skipped out on one of my panels, and I ended up sitting up there reading a new manga series that I was really into.
Uh-huh.
And then I was saying, okay, I was realizing on the drive over, I can finish the manga I started last year. And then I never made it over there in time to read anything because so much happened during this convention, which we'll get into. But I was telling you on the drive back, like, I need to drive up here myself, probably with Abigail, and we'll go up there together, and I will sit in that teen area and read manga all day because
Well, and that's
just
really
have
what that's
such a
there
bigger
for.
collection.
It's right. That's
Why
what
can't
it's
they be
for.
closer?
They put on such a good show though too, because like I said, there's stuff going on everywhere that you look. It's also very costume friendly, and there's a heavy anime and manga influence in their costumes, in their costume contests, because it's not just Comic-Con. It's not just one that's aimed... this is really aimed at teenagers and also really nicely done for kids.
Yeah.
There will be... all the events are reasonably family friendly.
There's an entire kids section in the children's part of the library where they have kid-friendly events going on.
And they have their own programming in there.
Exactly. When I popped in there at one point during it, they were doing like some sort of game. All I heard was that like one kid was supposed to stand on a square, spin around and walk down and then like land. I don't even know what was happening. I was too busy like looking around trying to find the theming because like in prior years they did an Animal Crossing theme and that was such a cool look.
They did a good Sonic theme one year. They did a good Mario theme one year. This year was cats and dogs, which like doesn't feel quite as...
I'm assuming they're going off of the show like Cat and Dog or something like that.
I don't know. It felt a little more generic. That was surprising.
Yeah, and like when I popped back there wasn't as much like decorating as usual, so I kind of got out of the theme. But you definitely had a lot of fun with the cats and dogs theme today.
Yeah, so I pulled out Alf again. I just had him on up at Neo, and so yeah, we're going to I'm going to run over there and like I got a photo right by the board and pointing to cats.
Yeah, we were chatting, and then you like said, "Can you get a picture of me?" And I'm like, "Okay." You lead me over to the side. I'm like, "Okay."
It's the only picture that we took of me at this entire thing.
That's true. I actually tried to make an effort to take pictures this time around since I knew you probably wouldn't be able to outside of Alf.
Those gloves they're not just, it's not just the normal problems with gloves. They're fluffy.
Squeak, squeak,
and yes,
squeak.
they squeak, so I have to watch how I hold things. Although, like, really cool, like, one person ran over and high-fived me, so I made sure to push the heel of my hand a little bit more so that when they did, you got a...
Oh, my goodness! Oh, my gosh.
Alpha's Green Lantern is a lot of fun. Other variants, I think, will be fun once I start getting into that. I'm going to have to break him out for, like, the Christmas party at the comic shop. Oh,
they're going to love that.
So there'll be more with him coming up. But I wanted something that I could just sit in. I'm still just kind of not doing a lot of competition anymore. And that's interesting because it's a whole new dynamic. Like, I can get out of costume halfway through the day and feel perfectly fine about it. Like, when I'm competing, I want to wear the costume most of the day. I want to be around the convention. I want to be hanging out. I want to be contributing to everybody's experience.
Exactly.
And because I absolutely it frustrates me when I see some of these people who have these huge, big, enormous, amazing costumes, and they really only show up for about an hour or less before the contest.
Literally, more than half of the people that competed this year showed up like
I'm not into that. So it's like,
I was not happy about that.
If I'm going to compete, I am going to stay dressed for most of the day. But I'm not competing. I'm just hanging out. So I can get out of it once it starts to get uncomfortable. And this is a whole new dynamic. I'm trying to adjust to the new normal. But it's also nice to give everybody else a turn there now.
Because this was my turn going full on bulky with you being in a more simple this time around. I brought out Hanji again, but this time I brought out Hanji in her armor. I stayed up until like 1 a.m. trying to fix up my stupid... Okay, so Hanji's costume essentially consists of jacket, leg pieces that are like straps, and then my ODM boxes on the side of my hips.
And the ODM boxes are the problem. They are tough.
But also, generally the straps as well, because I had measured everything last night to make sure that everything was level so that when I'd have it on my hips. I'm realizing that I had the belt way too far up on my stomach, and it was sagging down because of the weight of the boxes, and I should have accounted for that when I was measuring, but I didn't.
That's why part of that's why we tried to do that we tried to do a soft premiere of Hanji, and we thought that, that Great Northern, the Sweets and Geeks Festival would be, nice small little thing. Nope, that ended up being a big deal.
Yeah, that was...
So it didn't end up getting your soft premiere. And that one we had straps problems the entire day.
Yeah.
This time
I made them, again, myself from scratch, and they still gave me problems.
But this time it was more the ODM gear.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just get into this. So, Hanji is a costume that is... I'm able to move fairly freely in it. The main issue is, doorways, tight crowds, and the dealer's room, because I could barely move in that dealer's room.
Well, and you're not used to trying to be aware of how much bigger you are. And that's the thing. When you're doing something like that, you have to suddenly get used to the fact that you're twice the size of the person that you normally are, and you're not used to that.
The only time I ever have to worry about that is with Appa, and I haven't taken out Appa in a while. So the whole... So the thing that kept giving me trouble today was, as we were saying, my ODM boxes. I had also retaped them the night prior to make sure that everything was good. I tested everything out before I went to bed that night, and everything was golden. And they were giving me problems all day. The day started off great. Hanji was super popular. I was having a fun time. I was walking around trying to be noticed because this place was empty. We'll get into that later. And then suddenly, as I'm walking through, I think it was one of the walkways, I suddenly hear... I look down, and I see that, oh crap, my bottle is coming up. So, I panic. I get up, I make my way over to Rubber City Cosplay's cosplay repair section, which is... I'm really glad they did that. I would have been a goner without it.
We have gotten into the habit of bringing our own repair kits.
Yeah.
But the fact that they do this, and that you don't have to be, us... or know us.
Exactly.
That resource is available to everybody. That is kind of cool.
And I kind of came over there, and I was panicking because it had been... Actually, no, it wasn't even the ODM boxes that snapped first. It was one of my leg pieces that snapped. Part of the thing that holds the top and the bottom, because along the ridge, it's essentially two circles, and I have two small things connecting those two circles to keep them up on my sides. One of them snapped, and I panicked because it was falling down. I made my way over to the repair station, and Ryan immediately runs over to me as he sees me panicking. He's like, Maddie, are you okay? What's going on? Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. My leg piece snapped. He's like, here, let me help you. And I love him so much. He helped me, fix it up, re-glued it for me, and then gave me a thing of super glue to keep on me in case I needed it. Thank God he did, because not a couple minutes...
he needed it.
Because not a couple minutes later, I'm walking to the dealer's room, and I hear... I look down. One of my bottles decides to kind of like slip off, and I'm like, oh crap. So I walk over to one of the side areas over by the lady that had the big pins, and I leveled my ODM gear on one of the chairs so that I could stand up properly and not have it like being held down on my weight. And I super glued it back on, and I was waiting. I was like, come on, it's okay, come on. And throughout the day, I kept trying to fix it, and it kept failing on me. And occasionally, I would run into you between panels, and I would kind of like update you on the situation. But I spent a majority of the day at their repair station, which kind of sucks. But I mean, what can you really do? I luckily managed to run into a really nice girl who was getting one of her pieces fixed, and she was able to fix one of my back pieces as well. So,
and we eventually ended up running back to the car. Basically when I was going to change anyhow, to fix the bottles, because I think you and I had different theories on how to get those on and and it's just trial and error. So you hadn't seen exactly how it was I had it attached.
Yeah.
And so when I attach that, I'll wrap the piece of tape around it and then let it meet at the bottom and connect to itself, so that there's actually a little strip of tape there before it even attaches to the box. I don't go anywhere near the straps that go to the belt. And doing it that way allows the bottle to just kind of float freely, whereas you were attaching it to the belt.
And that was putting way too
so
much strain
stress
on it. Yeah. And then later on, as I am standing off to the side, because all the chairs were filled, I couldn't find a spot to sit down.
It held through the costume contest.
Yeah,
you did your walk.
I hobbled my way over there. I was like not like skipping, but I was trying to be like upbeat because Hanji is insane, and I love that about her. But anyways, I was like hopping over, and I think that's what happened. I made my way over to the side because there weren't any chairs for me to sit down where I sat down last time. So I'm standing over by the side, and I suddenly hear plop. And my left ODM box falls to the ground. I had gotten off stage. I was watching as they were announcing the winners, but it fell. I panicked, and I ran over to you and your side of the thing.
And it's like, there's nothing we can do at this point. The good thing is, though, it held long enough.
It held long enough.
Because I've had that exact same thing happen a few times, too. With Skeletor, the belt snapped on me just as I'm going down the stairs getting off the stage.
I remember when
it's
that
like
happened.
And so I got called back up for like the group photos and stuff, and I'm like, I'm just kind of holding it together so that you can't tell.
Like nobody notices.
Same thing happened with my pinhead with the Lucifer armor, and one of the upper leg pieces, just finally gave up the ghost. And again, I made it through my walk, but it's like, okay, so the return, I've got to kind of make sure that I'm positioned in such a way that like an elbow or a palm or a leg, something putting pressure on that to keep it there and to keep it from flying off.
Oh no!
So that happens, but it's funny that it happened at the perfect time. That it didn't have to affect you. I also wonder how much of it's a hot summer.
That's true.
Things fail during a hot summer. Mr. Freeze has had all sorts of problems during a hot summer. Like the air tanks in the back will just melt off. And I've tried glue. I think the last thing I've got is Velcro, but then the glue from the Velcro will sometimes come off. So it's just, you're gonna have it.
Yeah, at one point when they were finally done announcing the winners, I had essentially walked over to him like, here, take this. I'm gonna go see if I can hit the dealer's room before everything closes up. They were closed. I didn't get to buy anything. But well, what can you do?
I only got a couple of things, some candy, and I would hit the different stations. So like they've got a button making station. I managed to cut out
Wait, where was that at?
That was same floor as, I think the same floor as the dealer. No, the other floor. The floor that wasn't the dealer's room.
Yeah.
where we would get on and off the elevator. That's also where they had the little orchestra playing video game music.
Oh, okay.
So one of the and they had comic books and stuff that has basically been too beaten up for them to keep in circulation.
That's
so
true.
Cut what you want out of it, and we'll try and make a button out of it. I actually got a little CW ad and cut out Superman and Lois from.
So that's what that was from.
That,
okay,
yeah,
I was
the ad's
wondering
actually
about
from Crisis, but it's the Superman and Lois from Superman and Lois. And so we worked to get them centered, so I get them both in. So I love that because Tyler Hoechlin he's the best Superman of my lifetime. And Vince Tulloch is just the best Lois Lane, period. I love that I was able to get that done. We grabbed a couple, they also had some buttons that were just handouts, so we managed to get a Derpy Tiger.
Yes, they had a whole table filled with buttons, and you had spotted them, and then you came running over to me and was like, okay, you need to see this. You led me over. Because,
you need to get it before they run out.
Because they run out. Because K-Pop Demon Hunters has been so viral lately. Literally, Rubber City Cosplays, they were playing the soundtrack over by their table. And I was actually sitting there by their table for a majority of the time at the repair station. Mm-hmm. So I was just there, like, waiting on my glue, singing along with the
Everybody's
soundtrack.
singing along with it while you're waiting for the contest.
Literally, oh my gosh, the two people sitting next to me, I honestly couldn't tell because they were wearing masks. But the two people that were standing next to me, they were dancing like the soda pop dance, like with their phone on the ground. It was hilarious. I was watching them, like I was debating, should I ask if they want me to film it for them? But no, it was hilarious. We were all like singing along. Mm-hmm. I was vibing in line just with the music because that soundtrack has been on repeat for me lately.
What did you see? What kind of cosplay did you see that you liked?
There was a ton of really interesting cosplays this time around. The ones that definitely spoke out to me was, first of all, there was this Miku box head, which she was right next to me in line. So yes. I was talking with them, and they had told me like how they had spent like every chance they got in between classes, and they would work on the box head every time they were there for a rehearsal. I don't know what the rehearsal was for, that's just what they told me, but every time they were there for rehearsal, they would work on it for like multiple hours in the art room.
And she was in the cosplay panel, so I got to see the underneath of that too, and the harness that she had for her head.
It's amazing with like all the detail and such on it.
And it's so cute. I mean, it's really
adorable.
is.
Like, I hope we'll be able to find a picture to put with this because that one really does deserve to be shouted out. There was a Tengen from Legend of Korra that was running around.
Man, he was really good too.
He was so nice. He was so friendly. He was chatting up with everybody in line. He had a little Appa plush like backstage waiting for the costume contest. He was like playing with like the little like with the little legs on it. He was like waving at like the children as they would walk by. Like it was so sweet. He was so nice. People were like asking him in line like, "Hey, can I get a picture of you when this is all done?" He's like, "Yeah, just come and find me. I'll be hanging around." He was such a nice guy, and the costume was so good too.
It is.
We caught him when we were heading upstairs, I think over towards the repair center, and as we're doing that, we catch him and we're like, "Can we get a picture?" And then suddenly more people come in and they get a picture as well, and he's there vibing with it. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he also committed to the bit and shaved his head for the act. So that's I give props for that.
It's summer, so you know that happens. I know that I got to a lot more panels than you did because I had a much easier costume to move around in. Not completely easy. Alf's feet are hard. You have to get a rhythm in. And also that can be a hot costume until your body regulates itself, and it will. Sitting down in it is really when it's harder to breathe than when I'm walking. It's weird. But I went through a bunch of stuff. So I did do the cosplay panel. I like that, and I always like listening to what other people have done and listening for ideas and stuff like that. I sat and listened to some of the video game orchestra, which, I mean, it's a 4-piece orchestra, stringed instruments, done in like a classical music style. It's really beautiful. They've done that the last couple of years, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's always cool when I catch them when I'm passing by.
Mm-hmm. You did a little bit of the recital. So, Lang Music Studio, that's local in the area. This is kind of like a summer camp. Kids come in for 8 weeks, and they're learning music, they're learning skills. And this is their recital. They partnered with Geekfest to do their recital. So,
yeah, which explains why there were so many normies walking around.
So we're listening to stuff like Hedwig's theme, like Harry Potter music.
That girl couldn't have been any older than like 7 or 8. Like that was incredible.
Stranger Things theme, Avengers theme. There's some Devo that they did. There's Spider-Man theme, Legend of Zelda, Defying Gravity. And so each of these kids would basically come up and they'd play their piece on this beautiful grand piano. And it was just it's a great little bit of synergy there. That's a great way to go to coordinate with the community. And this was new. This was something fresh. I usually will get in there to see the Ohio Shakespeare Company do the stage combat demonstration, so sword fighting.
Yeah.
And it's always a lot of fun. I caught all of that, and you really only made it to one panel,
and that was it.
But talk about that panel.
So we went to, I decided to go to Teology, which was the most interesting thing ever. I'm a big tea drinker, especially during the winter. I don't like coffee, so I prefer tea instead for a hot drink. And we got to learn about the history of tea, got to learn about a little bit of the culture of tea, got to learn about the differences between tea, and then we got to make our own little baggies and bring tea home. I have tea simmering in a thing right now in the other room. So I'm actually really excited to see how that'll come out.
So after going through, how it's made, where it's made, just a kind of brief overview of how tea shows up in history, how far back it shows up. They had a back table with a bunch of pictures of different basic teas.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't taste any of those.
But that's where you're looking at, so these are the different flavors, and then you can take a little bit of any of those to blend them into your own blend. Like I grabbed some of the kaffir lime, some of the star anise. The star anise was really good, really sharp. I threw some orange in there and mixed that all up with green tea. So that'll be my Argo City tea. We had labels that we could draw up.
Yeah.
And you did more kind of... It was more of a
scent thing for me. I was picking stuff up and I was smelling it and then putting it in my bag because I don't know about you, but I couldn't taste anything in those things. It just
felt very vegetable almost to me. Like very green.
It also just wasn't hot. So that's probably why some of the flavor was lost.
That could be.
But no, that was really cool. She was really friendly. I felt bad that I couldn't stay for the whole end thing because I had to go line up for the costume contest.
Those kind of panels, I think, are frequently the most interesting and surprising that they are. There was one that I did out at ZipCon. That's the anime one that's up at University of Akron.
We love ZipCon. Woo!
Yes, you're going to get a review of this year's ZipCon eventually here as one of the extras, 1 month's extra or something like that, because we did it and then we never got around to releasing it.
Oh no!
But ZipCon did one called The History of Lunch.
Oh, I
which
never made
was
it out to that one.
All bento boxes and different forms and reasons and how it developed. And this reminded me a lot of that because it's this kind of esoteric subject, this almost pedestrian subject that you wouldn't think has a lot of history, that you wouldn't think there's a lot of interesting stuff to learn here, and yet there is just so much to it.
But, and like, especially Geekfest is very, very good about bringing in interesting panels. One of the other panels that was actually run by the same lady was Stardew Valley, what they did and didn't get right about farming, which is like, and according to what I heard from the panelist, she said that panel was packed. And it's like they always have such interesting stuff here. The year prior, for the last 2 years, I'd been going to one of their panels on writing because that's kind of a passion of mine. So I would pop in and listen to that, and then I'd have to leave early to go to the costume contest. But like they always have such interesting panels, and that's something that's pretty unique to this place.
Yes, there's not as many panels going on as some conventions, some bigger ones. but there's always something going on, and there's always something interesting. The anime dub upstairs, it's an interesting idea. People were having fun with it. So same thing with the karaoke. They have a ramen eating contest every year. There's always something interesting going on at this one. And the fact that it's free, it's open to the community.
Yeah,
and
parking is free. They're like connected to a parking garage, so all you really got to do is
right
show up.
Smack dab in the middle of downtown Akron too. So yeah, free parking is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's grown and grown and grown. I'll say this year though.
This year it
felt
felt
a little
so
empty.
much empty. I walked in, and usually when we walk in, there's a bunch of people like around the waiting area or people waiting for panels. We walked into like 6 people.
And we're looking around, making sure, do we have the right weekend?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, are we here on the right day? It was probably just because people are in on panels, but when I eventually made my way down to the dealer's room, there were more people down there. But even so, this was...
It doesn't feel as full as it has in
this
previous
was like
years.
empty.
It's weird too, because like
the costume contest usually wraps around half the way. There were 30 people this year. That was it.
It's usually easily 50. And it's interesting because, we noticed that Neo Comic-Con last week had grown. They got bigger this year.
They did get bigger
than they
last
have
year.
in the last few years. And this one's, it's strange to see who's ebbing and flowing. That's not to say that it was empty. I mean,
No, it
there
was
were still
not
plenty
empty.
of people.
There were still a lot of
and
people.
I'm not fearing for the future.
Yeah,
of
they
the,
better not close this one down. This one's my favorite.
But this is certainly one that we're coming back to next year. We're watching for it.
Absolutely.
We watch for it every year to see when it's going to be. So this is also one that we really, really recommend.
Yes.
Especially if you're just looking to kind of ease yourself into conventions and convention life. If you've got kids that you want to just introduce them to that world.
Yeah, indoctrinate them into the right places. Like, seriously,
if you're teenagers, that have never done anything like this before,
any person of any age can enjoy this. I saw even one older guy that was still walking around. Everybody's involved. Everybody here is super nice. We're all just hanging out and vibing in a fandom space. And that's really rare these days. So
big public library too. It's a safe place to be.
If you're local, go there because, like we said, it's free parking. You can just go for a couple hours, hang out, and support this because this is such a unique convention compared to a lot of the other ones.
Well, this is kind of the end of our event tour for the summer right now.
Yeah.
We've got Hall of Fame coming up in September.
We've got a short break.
Yeah, we got a month. I mean, I have the toy show coming up at the end of the month and then Immortal Fest Part 2. But for the most part, we've got... You got a little break here until we hit our next one.
Yeah.
So we'll be back into movies and stuff like that next week. And until then...
We'll see you guys next time. Bye!